Based on your feedback, I've decided to rename Linden International Airport to Linden Regional Airport because City Skylines 2 does in fact have an international airport, and this is not that international airport. I also took the opportunity to replace the main intersection into the city with a cloverleaf because the old intersection just didn't really have the capacity for traffic at rush hour. And similarly, traffic coming out of the airport was kind of substantial, so the little roundabout that we used to have on the highway just didn't cut it. So I've replaced it with another type of interchange that is working perfectly for the regional airport. And then on the topic of traffic, there's been an update to City Skylines 2 that fixed a few things, including rebalancing how cargo is handled throughout a city, which has resulted in a tremendous amount of cargo traffic coming through the main streets in Linden because we do have a cargo train terminal relatively close to this main boulevard. And speaking of this main boulevard, we can get right down in here now and walk along it because I've installed some mods. This is the first person mod this is wild being able to do this. This is really, really cool. This reminds me of when I first installed something similar to the original City Skylines and drove around, I think Emerald County is what I drove around. It was really, really cool. But this is, I mean, look, there's a lot of things wrong with City Skylines 2. It does look good though. Visually, just the detail in these buildings is pretty good. Like this, that's, you know, it's not the most high-res texture, but for a city builder, that's really good. This especially looks great for a city builder. But that's not the only mod that I've got installed. You might remember it took me a while to build all of these roads along the water for McGregor Island and also for this little space up this way and down around the riverbanks down by Laurel Grove. It took about 2 hours because you have to do all the landscaping and all of that business. This is McGregor Island, by the way, just in case you're curious, because I was going to call it The Island, and then remembered that The Island is the first movie starring Ewan McGregor that I saw after I saw him in Star Wars. And it was the first movie that I heard Ewan McGregor swear in. So I thought The Island, McGregor Island, it kind of works. It was weird, man, hearing Obi-Wan Kenobi swearing. I was a kid. It was really weird. But yeah, that's why it's McGregor Island. Anyway, the point I'm getting at is that I've continued this little road the entire way down the river down to this bridge. And my plan is to sort of bring it down through here, connect it to this avenue, and then gradually start filling in all of this space. But that's not what's interesting about it. Building this road from pretty much this intersection the entire way down took me about 30 seconds because, well, I went and got another mod, which I'm really excited about. It's one that lets you control essentially what type of road you have. So you can build the quays, you can build the retaining walls, you can set it to elevated, you can make it a tunnel. So instead of having to do the whole business with landscaping, what I can do is build myself a road, then go into my road services, get myself the key option and say, I want a key on this side of the road. And then if I just go and grab my landscaping tools and say, I want to flatten to this height, I can just do that. Or if I get this a little bit stronger and flatten from down here, you can see it just works. It just works. This should have been in the game. This shouldn't be a mod. It makes things so much easier. I'm gonna be honest. Oh my God, that was the wrong option. That's not that's not what I meant to do at all. I want okay, hold on a minute. All right, so that's fixed now. That should have been not the thing that I did with landscaping. The ability to change roads like that should have just been in the game. It really should. It's so tedious to build roads like this sometimes. I just don't understand why it's not a thing, you know? I really don't. And I'm getting to that point with City Skylines 2. I'm gonna be completely honest with you because there's probably gonna be a video about it in the near future. I am really enjoying this game, but the more I play it, the more I get a little bit uninspired. That's why there was so long between this episode and the last one, because I know what I want to build today, and I've known what I want to build today for a couple of days. It's just that I've put this city together and I'm having a really good time doing it, but then things start breaking just because the simulation breaks down when it gets to 150,000 people, or because a patch comes out and it starts generating, you know, all of this traffic. Now, this is fine. If this is the way the game is meant to be, that's good. It is still frustrating, though, that you have a city that functions so well in whatever state the game is in, and then here's a patch that changes things, and now your city has massive amounts of traffic jams because there's so much industrial traffic coming into the city. Now, maybe that's my fault. I put a cargo train terminal right by my city center. It's not a great place for it, so I get it, but I'm thinking that in the near future, I'm probably going to do another video talking about Cities Skylines 2 kind of candidly. I still enjoy it. I still believe that it will end up in a very good place, but my disappointment with the game exists. It is a tangible thing, and I do want to talk about it, but we're not doing that today. We're going to move on from the mods, the intro, and the complaining. Let's talk about what I want to do today. And really, to keep it short and sweet, I want to take out all of this zoning. Pretty much all of this industry needs to go. All of the commercial around here needs to go. All of the offices around here need to go. Everything in this space is going to be dezoned, and I want to rebuild this space. I want to repurpose this space into essentially a tourist hotspot. So we're going to just dezone all of it, let it all just go away. And then what I'm going to do is have to take out this tram depot. We're going to take out the cargo train terminal, which means getting rid of some cargo lines. The tram depot honestly is going to need replaced. So I might, while that all deconstructs, I might come over to the airport and expand this little road here and somehow get some trams into this space. I will say we do have some development points now, and I think it's time. I think it's time that we get subways. I'm not saying we're going to build a subway today, but I do want to start getting some subways in here. I also want to look and see, is there anything else that I urgently need right now? I don't really think there is. We could probably do with some actual proper fire stations, police stations, and maybe another large hospital. But I think for now, I'm going to hold on to those development points and just focus on maybe the subways. Also, this thing apparently will reduce, this reduces something. I can't remember exactly what it is, but I think the disease control center is really beneficial for an entire city. But for the time being, I do want to look at the subways actually, because we do need a subway yard. And thankfully, this thing is a little bit smaller than this guy, but it's probably going to live out this way somewhere at some point. Most likely, it'll probably end up being somewhere like this. We can run some subway tracks into the city and all that good stuff. But for now, I'm going to focus on the trams. So we're going to take out some of these little paths around here. And basically my plan, my thinking is I can come in here with another section of one lane, one-way road right to probably about there. I think I can get away with. We don't have our guidelines on, which is perfect. We're going to bring this guy out to here and across, bulldoze you, and then give this guy the nice chunky sidewalks. And what I might even go so far as to do is change this up a little bit by bringing a road out to, say, here, and then we can place the tram depot sort of on this thing sideways if I really want to. It does get very close to the train tracks though, which I don't know if I love. I do like there being a bit of a distance between the tram depot and the tracks, and also that little intersection at the corner is going to be terrible. But I think I'm going to do this just to sort of take the trams off of this, well, not off of this main road, but it just looks different. It gets things to look a little different. And then what I might also do is put a parking lot in here. Not that we need one, but it is going to fill in this kind of awkward looking space, and I think it's kind of a good place for a little parking lot. We could do a large one, maybe? What if I turn you around? Would a large parking lot sort of fit in there if it was this? Can you stop snapping to the roads, please? If it was this way around, can I get a large parking lot in there? I absolutely can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring a road straight across like, I think like that's probably fine. If we bulldoze you, I mean, we do have this connection here, which is fine. Can I get a large parking lot on here in a way that doesn't look stupid? I don't know if I can, because I think it's going to collide, yep, with the train tracks. Okay, never mind. And you know, I think this will do the job. And this reminds me, I don't know if I've talked about it in this episode. I don't think I have, and I don't know if I did it in the last episode. I don't think I did. But I did also make some small changes to the regional airport beyond just renaming it. I've added a taxi depot here, because I do want more people using taxis in and around Linden. And I've also added another road maintenance depot, because it turns out we only had one of these, and these guys provide 15 vehicles to the entire city. So we now have 30, We probably need more of these, actually. And by the way, this is a good opportunity to point out another mod that I'm using, which, by the way, all of the mods I'm using, I will list in the video description. I will try to provide links to them as well. They're all through thunderstore.io or whatever that mod manager platform thing is. Very, very easy to install. Very, very easy. I was actually really impressed with how easy it was. But one of them is like an info overlay thing. So usually to see the efficiency and the employees of a building, you have to click on it and then look here. I can just hover over it now. And I can do the same with anything. I can do it with a vehicle. I can see it's a delivery van and I can see what it's doing. I can do the same with a street. I can see the length, the upkeep, the condition, and I can do the same with pretty much any building. I can see the efficiency, the employees. And when it comes to these buildings, I can see it's a medical clinic or this one is North American commercial. We can see the level, the employees, what it sells. It's just really good. It means I don't have to click on things to see what they're doing. I can just see what they're doing. Now, when it comes to these tram lines, I think what we're going to have to do very simply is swap out some roads here. So we're going to be going for some regular 2-lane roads, which is good or bad, depending on how you look at things. This one is going to line up relatively nicely, though. So we'll just go ahead and do this and then flip it around so it's going the right way. And then my thinking for this, if I can pull it off, is that I might... Can I get you to line up? Is that going to be better if I do this? I think it actually is going to be better if I do this. It's going to get a bit weird down here, but honestly, that lines up pretty well. Anyway, my thinking for the tram tracks is it's going to be a one-way road sort of coming across this bridge up to about there. And it's going to be one way sort of coming in from here. And I've realized I can give some purpose to this little alleyway here, because what I can do, I think, assuming I can put tram tracks on it, which I don't actually think oh, really? Can you not put tram tracks in an alleyway? That's, am I just, wait, what are those, wait, what are those posts then? What are those supposed to be? I have no idea what I'm doing. Regardless, I was hoping, wait, it's put, wait, are they just not visible? Because it is putting the posts for the tram tracks there. Hold on a minute. Oh no. Oh no, I don't, I don't know if this is actually going to work. I don't think it is, unfortunately. I was really hoping I could be cheeky and get my tram tracks through here. What I might do then is rebuild this space, because these parking lots don't really get used anyway. So what if instead of parking lots out here, we just have space for the trams to sort of cut straight through, and that's how they're going to loop around. It does mean that we no longer need this this path, so it can go away. It means you can all go away, and it basically means that I'm going to run a tram track from right about here. Now this doesn't, oh, this can be really, really small as well, which is lovely. So I think what we'll do, I might even go further down for it. I might go to here, which means it does mean that this would need to be extended and not be a highway anymore. But I think that's what we're going to do. So we're going to go like this, take that guy out and take this guy out. We can swap this out for, is it going to let me get this in a nice straight line? I don't think it is. That's a little bit frustrating. Okay, I was really hoping I could get this to be in a nice straight line. I think what we'll have to do instead then is bulldoze and bulldoze, and then very, very simply just punch it straight through like that. And there we go. So that's how that's going to work. It's not great. It isn't great, but it'll be fine. And so basically this is my thinking right here. We just cut straight across the highway. It should be okay to do that. And then what I want to do is come down this way, sort of loop over the top of this highway, and we're going to try and bridge across. And my thinking is I can potentially bridge through here, connect it to this road, and then connect it to my tram tracks just up here. So I have an idea. I have method to my madness today. It's just a matter of whether or not it's actually going to work, which is the real question here, because I honestly have no idea. I also don't know where I want to build this little crossover point. I'm thinking sort of here is what I'm thinking. So let's go ahead and just elevate this. In fact, let me just flatten the terrain a little bit around this highway so that I can really clearly see what I'm working with. So basically I want this to be nice and flat here so that everything I build is going to be pretty much at the same height. That's important. And so if I elevate this guy, we want to go probably 8.75. If I could get this to just stop snapping to everything for a second and just do a little section of tram right in the middle here, what I can potentially do is now have it snap to there. And if I can get a nice little angle on this, I can do 24 or I can do 32. I'm thinking I'm going to do Can I just do 24 by 24 for a nice little curve on this? I think I can. I think 32 by 32 might be better because my thinking is it's going to sort of come in, it's going to go up and over the highway and back down this side and cut across the river. This might be a little bit far down for it, but I don't mind that. I think we can make that work. This side's going to sort of go down and curve down towards the water. I think 32 by 32 is probably going to be a better curve for this though. So we'll go for 32. We'll go for 32. We will do exactly the same on this side as well. So 32 and 32. And that, yeah, that's a lot better. That's a whole lot better. So basically this needs to sort of curve down and connect up there at a nice kind of gentle, gradual slope. And the other side needs to curve down towards the river. Nice, you know, and gently and gradually. And I don't know how I'm going to do that yet, but we'll get there. Okay, so slight change of plan. I'm not going to do this whole loop over the highway thing because it just looked stupid. So what I'm going to do is basically just punch the trams straight through this space, which means it connects up to this road, which is okay because we do already have some tram lines in here. So it's not like we're connecting to a place that's going to need a whole lot more infrastructure. It just needs a little bit on this road, which is completely doable. It is going to take away some lanes on this avenue, which is not exactly ideal. So what we're going to want to do is swap this avenue out for one of the medium roads without the median, which means the trams are going to be sharing some lanes with traffic, which honestly is fine. If anything, I would almost say this road isn't typically too busy. So I would almost be tempted to keep the median here for now, just so the trams, as they're heading out to the airport, can just sort of zoom straight through up until about this point anyway. So we'll see what happens and we'll see if that ends up being a good or a bad idea. But as for getting it into this whole space, my thinking is relatively simple. We're going to slope from there to about there. We'll just punch straight through like this, and we'll try and build something that's not going to look too terrible. I'm also thinking that eventually we're probably going to have a suburb out here. I'm not sure how that's going to connect to the highway, but it does mean that technically we could have a suburb that is serviced by the tram network, which would be kind of cool as well. So we'll see how that goes. But I think for now, let me just flatten some terrain around here because this is pretty much exactly where I'm going to try and build some kind of little bridge. And ideally, I would kind of like it to be perfectly lined up with the roads here. So we'll go and say 24 meters there. We can hopefully do something similar here. That looks about the same. And so what we'll do is use that as a guideline. We can hopefully elevate these roads up to, and let's say, can I do 7.5? I can do 7.5, and that's actually kind of perfect. So that's basically what we'll do right there. We'll take out these guys since we are not going to be using those. And then this just needs to curve down to this guy, and it's probably going to be a little bit steep, but I'm willing to give it a shot. So bring this out. It lines up about there. What does that look like in terms of being a little bit steep? It is negative 8.9, 8.7, 8.1. We'll go for the 8.1. Definitely a bit steep, but I think we can make that work. And I think it's going to be good seeing some trams going over the top here. And then for the rest of this, I think what we'll do is we'll just bring this out in a straight line. Since this is getting built before the suburb that might be out here one day, the suburb can sort of be built around the tram line. And honestly, this gives us a bit of a backbone for a suburb anyway, so I'm not really super stressed about it. And then what we'll do is hopefully very simply do something like this. It is 121, 142 plus 1.6 degrees. That's pretty solid. And honestly, I don't mind that at all. We can even go a little bit further if we want to get rid of the little grassy verge that we have and just do that. That's what I love about this mod. I can just do that. I don't think I need to do that, but I can, and it looks pretty good. So I think that's what we're going to do in a couple of places here just to sort of even things out a little bit. I might even do it here as well. So then when I smooth this terrain, it might look good. I don't know if it will, but we're going to find out together is what we're going to do. So if I start smoothing this all out a little bit, that actually, yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. That's pretty good. We might want to do some retaining walls for parts of this just to, well, actually looking at it, we might not need retaining walls at all. Right about here could potentially have some retaining walls. Yeah, we could arguably do some retaining walls right there just to sort of hold the land back a little bit. I don't mind that. I actually kind of like that. That's interesting. I don't like the way the game sort of does the shadows, I'll be honest. It doesn't look amazing, but it is still pretty cool. So I'm kind of here for it. If I smooth you out, can I fix that? There's like a little gap in the retaining wall there. Honestly, I don't think it's the end of the world. I like that. That's actually pretty cool. It just cuts through the terrain in a really satisfying way. Now, here's the interesting thing about having these trams. I was thinking we were going to run some trams from the Applegate station down through Pinewood, and then down and out through Pinewood South to the airports. The problem is we have trains that go to the airport, so we don't necessarily need the trams to go to the airport, but I kind of want them because I just think it's going to look cool. So we're going to try and run a very direct tram is what we're going to do. We're not going to go from Emerson because I don't think we need to do that, but we can go from relatively central, I want to say. So we'll go from here and we're going to skip a few stops and then we'll stop down by the Applegate station. And then I don't know how it's going to get out to the airport, but we'll figure that out. So it comes out. Oh, there isn't actually a path out there. Interesting. So it needs to go basically from here. It would need to come along probably down one of these roads here somehow. So probably down this road, but there's only a one. Oh, that's what the problem is. Okay. So maybe it has to go down. Oh, do I want it to go down that main road? I don't think I do. Interesting. That's very interesting. Okay, so we might actually need it to stop by Applegate. We can have it stop by, I'm going to say here as well. We can add some trams to, so we have trams on this road, that's fine. We add some trams to here and bring it around, and that should be totally fine. So for now, I don't think we can actually build this line until I go ahead and upgrade some roads. So very quickly, let's figure that out. So it's going to come along. It has a little one-way means down here, which is fine. This road then doesn't continue down to the right. So we want to say tram lines and tram lines. We could bring it through Pinewood South. Honestly, I don't dislike that idea. So bring some trams sort of down through all of this space, which links it up to here, which links it up to there, which means I should now be able to do this. So once again, we're going to go from right in the middle of the city here, and we're going to say go all the way along to the Dale Street stop. We're going to say go all the way along to, I want to say we could probably skip Pinewood. Because, I mean, you could, if you want to go to Pinewood, you know, just get a tram somewhere down here. We're going to skip it for now, which means bringing it all the way down and around, all the way out to the airport, and then all the way back. Now, where do I want it to stop on the way back? I guess probably the same spots. So it can sort of come down to here. Can it cut across and stop there? It absolutely can. So that's going to be our completed line, and that's all right. But what I do want to do is I want to add some stops. Wait, where is it going when it does? Oh, it goes in here. Interesting. Well, that's not what I want it to do. I do want to add some stops, I think, to Pinewood South. So we're going to say, give me a tram stop. Honestly, I think, oh, there's a bus stop there and it's very, very busy. So let's do a tram stop, say here, and let's do a tram stop, say there. And what we'll do is add a stop so it does stop in Pinewood South. And then when it's coming back, I need it to also stop in Pinewood South, right about there. So it sort of loops around the same way. It goes out to the airport, it comes back, it gives us an extra connection to Pinewood South, and that should be pretty solid. So what we can do is go ahead and take a look at this tram line, get it to a slightly different color, I think. And it is tram line 5. So if we view the details, have I been doing, yeah, I think I've been doing, I'm just going to do yellow, I think is what I'm going to do for this tram, just so that we have it. 13 vehicles. I'm going to bring that down to 6 because I don't think we're going to need them. And we'll just see how it goes. We should have the trams coming out of here, though. At least I think we're going to have the trams coming out of here. We're also going to expand you. And let's keep in mind, this is all because of the fact that I'm getting rid of everything in this space. Let's not forget that that's the bulk of what I wanted to do today. And I've gotten slightly sidetracked in doing that. We also have we have a transformer station down here. All right, let me get rid of you because we don't need you anymore. And for now, I'm going to be getting rid of some cargo railway routes as well. So you need to go away and you need to go away. And then you get bulldozed and this entire train line back to about there can get bulldozed. And I guess this can go away. and pretty much everything else goes away as well. And so I realized with this whole space cleared out, I haven't really talked about exactly what I want to do in here and why I wanted to tear this apart. The simple reason is going to be within my leisure category. It's going to be within the landmarks, and it's going to be the National Gallery of Art. It's going to be a couple of other things as well. But my thinking is that this would make for a really good, I think I might have talked about this actually. I might be forgetting. I'm getting old. Basically, oh wow, that was easy. Basically, I like the idea of turning this into sort of a tourism hotspot. We have really good transport infrastructure to get in here. We have buses nearby, we have trams nearby. And I mean, the main train station's not that far away either. So something like the National Gallery of Art in here seems like a pretty solid idea. And I also love the idea of making this entire space into what is essentially going to be a pedestrianized space. So bringing some roads out like this seems like a pretty solid idea. We can bring a road sort of through here as well, and that seems like a pretty solid idea. So we'll just go ahead and do exactly that. So that road existed before. That's actually why this avenue is offset a little bit, because it was a one-way road, but now it looks like that, and that's okay. What I'm also thinking I might do is bring a pedestrian road across the back of this gallery, which I don't know if the game's going to be too happy about me doing. Interesting. We do have tram lines that come down around here, so what I might need to do then is just shuffle this guy over a little bit. That might be the way to do things. So we have a little bit of a gap between this and the avenue up here. Something a bit like that should work. My question then is, can I get some pedestrian paths to line up with the existing paths on this building? I really hoped I could do that, but it doesn't look like it's going to let me. I might have to do this instead. So run a pedestrian path across the back of the building and then use that to sort of run a path like this. So it looks like that runs straight in there. And that's sort of something I do want to do with this. They're not going to be lined up perfectly, but honestly, that's sort of okay. I want the edges to sort of line up on these guys. I want the edges to sort of line up on these guys as well. That's a little bit too far over. This is going to be a total pain to do, but it should look okay. It should look pretty good, I think. Do I just keep going to the exact same spot every single time with this? I think I do. Is that the exact same spot again? That's acceptable. I'll allow it. This one's going to be relatively central, which is right about there. And this guy is also going to be relatively central, which looks to be right about there. So yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm actually quite okay with that. We'll do similar here. So it looks like you can sort of walk right up to this, this like back entrance to the thing. We'll do the same here as well. And we'll do one right in the middle just because we can. That looks to be relatively central. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I think that actually looks pretty good. We could, if we wanted to, potentially cut straight across like this as well, which I'm not really against doing. Again, it just sort of breaks it up a bit, and I like that. Yeah. So that's the back entrance. That's the front entrance. We'll obviously do some landscaping in there. I may or may not have got a tree brush mod so I can build things in a line that I'm really excited about, but we're going to leave that until a little bit later on because there's more things I want in here. It wasn't necessarily just the National Gallery of Art that I wanted to build in this space. I also happen to want to build this guy, the observation tower. It is huge, absolutely enormous, but I think it would look kind of cool in here. I'm not 100% sure where I want to build it. Part of me wants to build it a little bit closer to my skyline so that it looks like it's sort of more a part of the city. And I'm very tempted to do that, but annoyingly, it won't fit kind of centrally behind this gallery unless I freeform it, which I really don't want to do. Although, well, maybe I should. Maybe I should try and freeform it. I can rotate it around and get it perfectly like this. Let's try and get a top-down view as best I can. And somehow I'm going to try and get this guy lined up centrally. That actually, right about there, looks to more or less be the middle. So if I go and click, does that look okay? That's about as good as it's going to get. You know what? We're going to go with that. That's what we're going to do. We're going to go with that. I'm also going to put some paths around it so that it's sort of similar to the National Gallery. We'll get some paths sort of going around like this. Like I said, the entire space is supposed to be pedestrianized, so we're going to do that. That's where that thing's going to live. There are going to be shops in here. It's not just going to be parks and plazas, but I do think I do think parks and plazas are going to make up a massive chunk of this space. So let's see. Large plaza. Can I get it to fit next to this guy? Unfortunately, no. Large city park can fit next to it, but I don't think it's going to look as good. Is there anything else I can put in here that's going to look a bit better? Small plaza, small park. I mean, the small plaza is okay, but I don't know. They're very repetitive. They're very, very repetitive. So another little something I was thinking of doing in here was building the Grand Hotel. It's a great looking building. It has a nice amount of indoor recreation, and I think it would look pretty good sort of on this corner. I just don't know if that's overdoing it. I can't, I mean, obviously I will say this industrial space, it is going to go. We're not building a tourism hotspot right next to a bunch of industry. Eventually it's going to be going away, but I don't know if it's a little bit much. My thinking was to sort of slope this terrain just a little bit and then bring what is essentially going to be just a standard old pedestrian road up a bit like this. So we have got some flat space here at the corner. And then we would just go ahead and build this guy something like that. And it looks all right. It definitely looks all right. I'm also kind of wondering if I should maybe play around a little bit with some key walls in here. So if I was to sort of flatten this terrain and slope it out a little bit, what I could potentially do is come in here with my key wall option and just do this. So it is a slope leading up to it, but it looks a little bit more deliberate, you know? It looks a little bit more like, hey, this building was put here, the terrain wasn't perfect for it, so they made it perfect. Obviously, that's a little bit extra. Obviously, it's a little bit unnecessary, but I don't hate it. I don't hate it, and I'm going to be honest with you, I am going to use and abuse this mod as much as I possibly can. I love being able to do little details like this. So I think that's what we're going to do. I think we're going to have this thing sort of there. And I think what I'm going to try and do is maybe just bring some pedestrian roads kind of around this thing a little bit more. So let's just see what we can get away with. Let's see what we can do here. Obviously, the terrain isn't perfectly flat anyway, but we'll flatten it out just a little bit. Well, actually, you know what? Give me a bigger brush. Let me just take you out of there. Let me flatten everything around this so that it's all exactly the right height. We're going to replace the, oh, it's a little bit lower in the ground, isn't it? We're going to replace this. We're going to put it back down so it's at the right height, but I want to surround it in roads and I want it to look a certain way. So basically this is going to come out. This is going to go back. This is going to cut across right about there. So we have 3 tiles the entire way around it. And then from this spot and this spot, we'll go ahead and bring some roads down. So this little space is going to be another square. We can do something interesting with it. I don't know what that something's going to be, but it's going to be something interesting. All right, so this is what I'm thinking for this little space. We've got the Grand Hotel, we've got the National Gallery of Art, and we have the Observation Tower. Obviously, that's sort of the bulk of what's going to make up the touristy space. I do want to get some shops in here, though, and I do want to get maybe a couple of parks and a couple of plazas as well. Obviously, getting some pedestrian infrastructure, some transport infrastructure, rather, through here is going to be important as well. We can do tram lines on pedestrian roads. We can do bus lines on those as well. So that's not really the end of the world. We do, however, have a tram stop right in front of the art gallery. So I don't know that we're going to need trams going through here, but I do want some buses to at least come into maybe just the middle, drop people off and let them sort of go about their business. So we'll see how that goes. But for the time being, I want to try and get some buildings in here. I want to start to get some zoning into this space. So we're going to start to do little things like this, where we're going to just bring some roads across. We can get some zoning along this. And I'm also kind of wanting to get some zoning along the back of this guy. I'm not really too sure how I'm going to do that. But I think getting some zoning kind of along the back of this would look pretty decent. So I guess maybe off of this corner is how we would do that. It would have to run sort of straight through a little something like that. It would give me some small buildings, which wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. It does line up relatively nicely. This intersection is, I've seen worse. I've definitely seen worse. It's not great, but it's not the best. This is, again, I've sort of seen worse. So I might just stick with that. That's not really what I was looking for, but I might stick with it. It does sort of mess with this space. So maybe we do, I don't know, maybe we do something else with this. Maybe that isn't what we go for. It does Does get a little bit nasty down there. Oh, I've just realized I could technically use this mod that lets me do the keys and the retaining walls to do this, which admittedly, I probably don't want to use retaining walls on this, but do this, which means that I can get rid of zoning along one side of this avenue, which means I can have zoning exactly how I want it to be on the inside of this district. Now, it does look a bit weird, admittedly, having these sort of little, I guess, barriers at the sides of the road, but I don't mind that. I think that's okay. I think the benefits in this case are that we no longer have zoning on this stretch of road, and therefore we can build this space exactly how I want. So I'm kind of okay with that. It does look a bit weird. Like I said, it's got this like this barrier along the sides, which means people can't park there, and it's whatever, but I'm okay with that. I think what we'll do then is start to take a look at this space. It is going to be North American mixed use housing for a decent chunk of it. It's definitely going to be a decent chunk of this space that has the mixed use housing. But what we'll do is we're going to come in here and we're going to let this space just sort of build. It'd be nice if they were sort of more consistently sized. I don't think I'm going to get that option though. Let's take you out of there. Let that build. And then we'll do a 3 right there, which is going to be a bit smaller, but that's okay. So we'll do 5. We'll do 5, 5, 5, and we can do another 5 right there. Ooh. Oh, that fills in all weird like. I don't know that I want that, but I mean, it does fill it in. So we'll go with that. We'll see what happens is what I think we'll do there. And that's going to fill up that little space really nicely. As for the rest of it, I want to get a little bit weird with it. I want to start doing some different shapes and sizes. So I want to do a 6 by 6, say right about there. And I can do a 6 by 6 right down here as well. So we're going to let those build. That is not 6 by 6. Can I get just one big building? Same with up here, please. Just one big building. That's not one big building. I just want one big building, cities. Just work. There we go. That was a struggle is what that was. But we'll do the 6 by 6. And then I want to do a little 5 by 5 next to them. Because my thinking is that if I do little 5 by 5 buildings here, we can leave ourselves some space in the middle for a path to sort of cut right through all of this. And I think that's going to be pretty good. We can do another little 5 by 5 here and here. That is not what I'm looking for. Just give me the 5. Just give me the 5 by 5. No, give me the one big building. That's all I want. Just work with me, cities. Come on. There we go. Every time, every single time. All right. Getting really stressed out is what I'm getting. I'm getting really stressed out. And then a couple of 4 by 4s down at the end of this as well. So we can kind of have people walking in and around all these buildings as much as is possible. That does leave us some empty space at the end there, but it does leave us empty space down here as well. So I'm not really too stressed about it. And then what I want to do is I want to try and hug the shapes of the buildings a little bit. I'm not, is it good to connect to that? I don't know that it is, but we're going to anyway. We can sort of do the same down there. I don't know if that's a great layout, but it's what we're going for. And then similar story through here. We're just going to hug the sides of the buildings. We'll go straight through like that, straight down to there, and exactly the same on this side as well. So in doing that, I can then just sort of bridge across at all these little junctions, and that's going to let people get around between these buildings really, really nicely. We can sort of do the same here, and we can do the same right here as well. And then obviously all of that's going to be lined with like poplar trees. We can do some bigger trees in the middle. And I think it'll look pretty good. I think that'll look interesting. We can do sort of the same here. A little bit of a path to let people get across. We can detail these little empty spaces with a bunch of trees as well. And I think that'll look pretty solid. Now, another thing that I want to try and do is feather this little skyline a little bit, because it's just a very, very noticeable straight road of, or straight line of high rises right there. So I'm going to come in and take out a bunch of these buildings, and I'm going to have some high rises in this space as well, relatively close to the observation tower. Obviously, it's a lot taller than them, so it's not the end of the world. But what I'm thinking I want to do is I want to come in here and I want to get maybe a 5 by 5 or a 4 by 4. Let's say 5 by 5 office tower is what we'll go for. So we'll do an office tower right about there. We can do North American high density. We can do You know what? We'll do 6 by 6 for that one. We can do European high density. We'll go for, I'm going to say 5 by 5 on that. And I'm going to say, give me, can I do one a bit smaller? Maybe 4 by 4 right there, just so we have this kind of open space. And then across the way, I want to see if I can get a 3 by 3 European one. And then we'll also go for a 4 by 4 office. We'll do a 5 by 5 office, and then we'll do another 5 by 5 office right there. I'm leaving a little bit of space between them just to see what sort of builds. This is interesting. I don't know that I want 2 towers right there. I kind of just want the one. And the game crashed. Okay. Okay, you know what? I'm actually really liking the look of this with all the little paths sort of snaking their way between all of these different buildings. I also think bringing this skyline sort of down this way just a little bit was absolutely the right choice. It's definitely helped to sort of blend this out a little bit and sort of tie this into the existing skyline that little bit more. I might have to do the same on this side as well, to be completely honest, sort of bring it down towards this main road a little bit. I'm not going to do that right now, but that might be something we want to look into. I'm also going to say, I love these buildings. They look absolutely fantastic. Just this little row of, I mean, they look European-ish, but they look great. They look really, really great. That's the perfect little city block right there. It's exactly what I wanted. The rest of this is, there's an autosave. I thought it was going to crash. It's an autosave though, it's fine. The rest of this sort of links together. I don't love the gaps between these buildings, but it's fine. It's honestly okay. It's better than what we had. It's definitely better than the massive industrial space that we used to have in here. Now for the rest of this, I will say, I'm thinking we're going to get a little bit more generic. We're not going to get too crazy with everything along this main road. So we're basically going to put a lot of the commercial space that we had back in here. But what I might do is come down here and just say that this road is going to be turned into one that is technically a key, because I don't want buildings on it. I don't want buildings on it. I might want them in here, but for now, I'm just going to do this to get rid of all zoning on it so that we are just primarily, I'm actually going to leave this little triangle space empty as well. We're going to fill in everything else for now, but we'll leave this open because once this industrial space goes, honestly, this roundabout can probably go as well. So this space will get redesigned at some point. I can also probably let the game keep running for now. Oh, no. Let's try and get you. Let's maybe do a little bit of planning here. Let's see. So that is 5 by, yeah. So that's what we're going to do. I guess we will do a little bit of planning here just to try and make this look a certain way. I guess what we'll do is more paths, since we're kind of trying to continue that idea through as much of the space as possible. We can do some paths just to outline these guys. We can cut straight across like this so people can walk kind of in and around there. And then I guess these spaces back here are going to be sort of a similar story. So we'll do the 6 by whatever. We can do 4 by, let's try 4 by 6. Is 4 by 6 something that's going to build? It actually is. Is 4 by 5 something that's going to build? It isn't. So it's either 4 by 6 or 4 by 4. I guess we'll do 4 by 4. And then what I can do with this is a similar idea. Just bring some paths sort of straight through like this, straight over like this as well. We'll connect them at the little corner points just like this. And when we get some buildings into this space, it'll be a similar story. They can continue straight across. And this can maybe be some park space or something like that. I think that's actually what we're going to do, is just fill this up with a bunch of commercial as best we possibly can. And I don't mind that. It does give us some pretty straight walls around here. So let's very quickly, it's getting very dark. There must be some clouds over it. Yeah, I thought I had these turned off, but apparently I don't. Yeah, there's some clouds overhead. It's getting the game to be really dark right now. And so with all of this coming together, we have a lot of spaces that are going to need a lot of trees. And I've already gotten started down here. I've decided to line this part of the road with some linden trees, which I think will look pretty good when they happen to grow in. I've also got this path that lines up absolutely perfectly with the path at the front of the National Gallery of Art. And I've also decided that this little space in here is actually going to be some high density offices. It's going to be a tower that sort of, grows up above everything else in the space. I just thought it might look interesting having one high rise in the middle of all of this, sort of next to the observation tower. And I will say it looks a bit weird. I'm not gonna lie. It looks a bit weird from this angle because there's no high rises behind or in front of this thing. But if you look at it from here, you know, like here, that's a pretty good looking skyline. Except for this one tower over here, but you know, it's not bad. I've seen worse. What if we go into first person view? Oh, that's a lot of traffic. Oh man. All right, well, I think it's Control F. Yeah, Control F for first person. Where is it? That's not bad. It's all right looking. It's actually kind of cool looking, seeing it down there. Oh wow, that's blinding. Good Lord. Don't look directly at the sun as I look directly at the sun. Oh, and you know what? That actually looks really good. It's not super tall. It might still upgrade at some point, but that's pretty good looking. It's actually got a really nice little footprint around it as well. I'm really pleased with that. Anyway, like I said, we have a lot of trees that need to go into a lot of spaces and a lot of detailing to be done here. So what I want to do is I sort of want to line this a little bit with, I think these guys. Yeah, with this particular bush is what I'm thinking. I want to line sort of along the road. So if I have this selected and I press shift, I can then just click and drag this out and look at that. It's so easy. And then I can use, I think, the arrow keys to shrink the distance between these right down until they pretty much overlap. And that is going to give me a perfect, hopefully it's going to work. A perfect little line of bushes. I don't know if it's actually going to let me do it, but there we go. That looks all right. And I think it also automatically rotates them so they're not all perfectly aligned, which is like so good. That's like the biggest complaint I had about all the other like lines of bushes I would do in and around Linden is they're all the same because I'm not rotating them. Well, not a problem anymore. That's oh, it's so good. It's so good being able to do this now. I'm so pleased about it. It's obviously not perfect, but it does the job. Look at that. There we go. There we go. Oh, this is going to be so easy now. This is like, to think that this is, oh man, I'm so excited about this. I'm struggling to get my words out. Basically, in like the first episode of Cities Skylines 2 that I did here on YouTube, we did all the bushes around the cemetery, right? We did, where is it? This guy over here. All these little bushes around the paths. We did all of those. And it genuinely took hours to do that. It's nice that I don't have to spend hours doing that anymore. Because I can just do this. I can just cheat. I can just mod that. Oh, it's so, it's both the relief and it's also, it hurts on a spiritual level. Because I remember how long I spent placing all of those friggin' bushes. So this is great, but also, man, I wish I had this 3 months ago. I really do. I wish this was just in the game. I really feel like a prop line tool needs to be in the game. The ability to change the road type to be keys after the fact needs to be in the game. Because it's so good for detailing, you know? It looks so good just being able to do this so quickly. And you know, I think I've just realized something. I think I can just drag this out over the paths and then I can just click and it just doesn't place it on the, oh my God. That is so good. That makes things so much easier. Oh man. Oh. I'm not going to spend every single episode just detailing everything, but the fact that I can now makes me so happy. Oh, I'm so, honestly, I'm just excited to see what Cities Skylines 2 mods look like in a few months time. That's what I want to know is what is modding this game going to look like in a couple of months? Because that right there, before I installed this mod would have taken me, I mean, 20 minutes isn't that long, but 20 minutes is 20 minutes, right? The fact that I'm just able to go and do it like, boom, done. There you go. There's a line of bushes around all of this space. It's so good. And you know what? I'm actually kind of pleased with how this whole space has turned out. Now, I'm pretty sure one of the options with the prop line tool mod thing that I'm using is to set your trees to be adult trees. I've decided not to do that because I like coming back to these spaces to see what they look like when the trees eventually grow. I've also decided to be a bit different down here. I've got just some regular little bushes kind of going around the Grand Hotel. We've got some flower bushes and some pine trees in front of it, along with the linden trees. So this should look a little bit overgrown, honestly, when these all eventually grow in, which I'm really excited about. And then this space down here, apparently I've done European buildings, which, yeah, I didn't mean to do that. That wasn't really what I was looking for down there. Let's get the North American ones just back in there because they will look sort of the way I want them to. So we'll go for that. And then these guys, I've had to go for regular old commercial buildings because there is still some ground pollution underneath this entire space from where there used to be a bunch of industry. But for the most part, I like how this has turned out. Now, that's not the only thing I want to do today, but this next little project is very much a little project. I want to fill some of this space in down here with some higher density zoning, but I like the idea of building something that's sort of like the projects, and I don't know if this is going to work as a project. So we're going to give it a shot. We're going to see what we can do here, but there's no guarantees that what I'm about to build is going to stick around by any means. So this will be interesting, to say the least. So what I want to do is very, very simply just bring something like this out to about here. Just a regular old avenue going right down through here. And then at the ends of this, I'm going to do hopefully something that's going to line up nicely. So I kind of want to go like this. So straight across, and then I should be able to go straight up to right about there, I want to say. That does not line up nicely at all. That's not what I'm looking for. Let me just make sure that all of my snapping and stuff is set up properly. So what are you snapping to there? You're not snapping to the sides of a building. You're not snapping to that. Are you snapping to... What are you snapping to? What is that? What is that guideline that's going on there? What is that all about? I mean, that lines up, so that's kind of what I'm looking for. And basically, I want that to go out to there. I want this one, arguably, to go right down and connect to this road. So whether or not this works is to be determined. It does dip down a little bit, but I don't know if I mind that. Is that dip still there? Not really. I wonder if I started the road from this end of things, would it still dip down like that? Because if it doesn't, then that's absolutely perfect for me. Although, of course, I've got all my guidelines off again, don't I? So my goal here is going to be to do a bunch of 6x6 low rent buildings. And eventually I want all of these buildings to look the same. That's kind of the goal, is that they're going to be a bunch of just repeating buildings in a very deliberate layout. And the hope is that we can get something that's going to look really good. Whether or not that happens is to be determined. But we are going to try our best is what we're going to do. Now, I don't know exactly how much space I want to leave between these, but I think what I might do, what's our middle? I mean, if I do more buildings out here, which I think I should do, we'll do a couple of buildings at the end. That kind of means this is our middle point. This is probably going to have some parking and some kind of services and things like that. My thinking was I was going to leave like a gap of 2 between them, but then I'm thinking I can do some sports plazas in here as well. They might go up towards the top though. So maybe down here is just going to be a little bit closer together than everything else. Let's give that a bit of a shot. So we have a gap of 2 down at the bottom, which is completely fine. We can do a nice line of trees down there. And admittedly, we don't have the demand for this entire space, and getting these buildings to all be identical is going to be a complete pain. I might need to use developer mode to make that happen, but we'll see if we can do it. I'm also thinking up here, honestly, we'll do more of them. And then the goal essentially is going to be to decorate around all of this as best I possibly can. So for example, we can bring a bit of a path sort of down to here. We can bring that same path sort of across like this to kind of cap those off. And I think that's something we're going to do for this entire space. Again, we're going to try and make it as walkable as we possibly can. And where the touristy space is supposed to be, you know, a little bit curvy here and there, it's got a lot of things to do. This is mostly, almost exclusively going to just be residential space. And that's okay. You know what's interesting? Well, there's 2 things that are interesting. The thing number one is that there's a lot of uses for this whole change up your roads mod that I hadn't really thought about. I hadn't really thought about the idea of putting an actual fire station into this space because I thought, well, these hills are going to be weird. And then I realized they don't have to be weird. I can just go ahead and switch them out into keys on this side. And suddenly we have a fire station that's sat down into the ground right on the edge of this project thing. And it looks okay. The thing number two that I've realized is that all of these people, and I'm gonna call these people out because I am a little sick of this. Every now and then on Twitter and on Reddit and on different forums and just on different places on the internet, I will see these posts and it'll be someone posting a screenshot of their city and it'll be like this-ish. Imagine all of these buildings, but just more, right? It'll be like 100 of these same building over and over again. It's not usually these buildings. It's usually skyscrapers. And yes, I will say right away, this, for example, is a really good example of how there are maybe not enough high density housing buildings, right? This is very repetitive, but I will see people posting screenshots of like 100 of those buildings. And they'll be, this is why Cities Skylines II is terrible. It's so repetitive. I have been sat here for an hour just looking at this space, waiting for all identical buildings. I want these ones. These are the buildings that I'm looking for. And it's taking a while because I'm not using dev mode. And it's taking a little while to get the buildings that I want in here. So either those people have used dev mode to clone the buildings over and over and over again. What are you waiting on? What's your problem? No vehicles. Currently, wait, what? Oh, that's a good point, actually. How many, are we having that complaint anywhere else? We've got traffic jam. We have no vehicles. What is that? Tram line 1? I'm assuming one of my tram lines has too many vehicles right now. My point being, just by the way, my point being, how many vehicles we got? 14 on tram line 3. It is quite a busy line though. It is definitely quite a busy line. Tram line 6. I mean, we could bring that down a little bit. We could probably bring that down to like 13 or 12, I'm going to say. Let's have a look at my other tram lines. So usage is 80%, 33. It has 2 trams. There are 6 on this one. I can't go any lower. We'll figure it out. We might just need to get another tram depot. My point being, unless you use developer mode or you sit for literally hours, the buildings aren't as repetitive as people make them out to be. They are repetitive. I'm not going to say that they're not at all. They definitely are. But these people that are like, oh, it's just the same building over and over. It's not. It just isn't. You're just farming karma on Reddit. That's or likes on Twitter or X or whatever it's called. Look, I'm just going to keep calling it Twitter. I'm going to stop with it's Twitter. I don't care. It's Twitter. Look, it's City Skylines 2 has some flaws. But it annoys me when people make up flaws for drama. That's what I'm gonna, it just annoys, it bothers me because it's like, it's diluting the conversation about what the actual issues are, you know? That's why it annoys me, because there's a really good conversation to be had about what is wrong with City Skylines 2, where the problems are, you know, arguably what should this be a priority? Should that be a priority? And then you just got these guys that are like my tweet because the buildings are the same. That's about it. Upvote me on Reddit because the buildings are the same. It's just exhausting. It's just, but I'm old. I said it earlier, right? I'm pretty sure I said it earlier. I'm getting old. The older I get, the more social media and like the internet annoys me because look, this may very well be a case of someone that like has, I've done this whole internet thing for a long time. I've been on YouTube for a long time and I've had varying degrees of success and failure and highs and lows through the years. So this is very much maybe coming from a place of someone who has had a degree of success with YouTube. So take this with a grain of salt. But it is, I don't understand modern influencer culture. It seems like everybody in everything they're doing in life is trying to be an influencer now. It's like everything has like, it's like everything has like a subset of TikTok or Tumblr. Is Tumblr still a thing? Like everything is being monetized or put online with ads slapped on it. Or it's like, I don't know. Like there was this theory. I don't know if anyone remembers the video of the woman that seemed to be having like an episode on a plane and was like pointing at someone or something or whatever and saying like that person isn't real or whatever it was. Like she made a YouTube channel and a website and put up like an apology or explanation video a month or two later. And there were so many people that looked at this and kind of went like, yeah, she's trying to monetize this. So now people were like, did she actually have this, like, was this a genuine like episode of some medical thing? Or was this like put on for her to then go and monetize later? It's like, internet's a scary place now. If I hadn't started when I did and hadn't had the luck that I have had, I don't think I could do it. I couldn't. I love the vibe that we have here on this channel because it's not like modern, like you know, it's a little old school compared to like modern influencer culture, right? We did go through a phase on the channel over the years where like the intros were super like, hey, how's it going, everybody? Well, you know, we did all that. We've been there. We've done that. But now I don't even introduce videos now. Now I just get right to it. It's like, we're just straight into it. You know what this is. You know what you're clicking on. You don't need me to be like, welcome back to City Skyline. You know it's City Skylines. I mean, most people don't introduce stuff anymore anyway. It's not like, you know, you don't open a... I don't even know where I'm going with this conversation. You know what? It's really... This really has just turned into old man yells at cloud, hasn't it? That's basically what this video is. It's like, hey, I've modded City Skylines II. Like people have been asking me to for weeks. Now I'm gonna get up in my soapbox for a second and yell at the clouds. All right, so now that Factory Town and the Sterling project, and yes, we're calling this Factory Town because it used to be a bunch of industry and factories, and I think Factory Town sounds kind of cool. Now that those are built, the last thing I want to do today is come in and just tear this apart because we just don't need this space anymore. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this transformer station and I'm going to move it temporarily down into this space here because we just need it to exist somewhere. It doesn't really matter where it exists. It just needs to be somewhere. And we're gonna connect it over to this guy. And we're gonna then get rid of these power cables that we don't happen to need anymore. So those can go away. And then this can go away. That is, what is that actually? That is a bus depot. So that's going to have to still exist somewhere. But basically, I'm just going to go in here and get rid of all of these roads. We just don't need them anymore. We don't need any of them. They can all go away, which gets rid of all the buildings. Yes, there are some industries in here. There's some forestry in here that's now going away, but that's probably fine. And then when it comes to that bus depot, I don't really know where I'm going to put it. We do have this big one out here. We could arguably try and put a bus depot in here. We could very much try and do that if I swap this little road out for, well, an actual road, which, looking at this, maybe. I can maybe do that. I think I'm going to give that a shot. So this needs to go away. And then I need to get myself a small road. I need to get myself, I can't do an alley, but I can do a 2-lane road. And it just needs to go pretty much here, I think. Unless I can get it to line up with the tram tracks. If I could get it to do that, that would be very good. That would be kind of perfect if I can get it to line up basically there, which it looks like I can. So I should be able to just bring this straight across. And that's actually kind of perfect. The tram tracks then need to be put back on this, and they were just a little one-way little bit of tram track there. So that runs straight through. Can I fit a bus depot back there? Are you kidding me? It is the tiniest little bit too big. The tiniest little bit too big. That's disgusting. That's awful, man. I mean, yes, I could move this road down a little bit. I could move all this around, but I don't really want to do that. So maybe just another taxi depot, or I could do several taxi depots in here if I really wanted to. I think I'm just going to do parking lots though. I'm a little disappointed. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little bit disappointed. That would have been so good. Can I do 4 of these? Yeah, I can do 4 of those. I could actually move these over a little bit. So move you by 1, move you over by 1, and then we have these even gaps between them, which serve absolutely no purpose other than to let me potentially do some kind of little path in here. I don't know. I don't think there's any point in doing that path, so maybe not, but I don't know. Does that look silly? It does a little bit, but I think what we can do is we can once again come in here with the good old prop line tool, and we'll just do some trees to make it look a little bit less silly. You know, now that I think about it, we could probably just put a bus depot back here, right behind the hospital bus station. Admittedly, it's not going to have as much space for expansion as this one, but I think this one only has the 1 expansion anyway. So either I can put it here, or I could potentially put it here and give it even more space to expand. So I think that's what I'm going to try, which means I'm going to get rid of this little substation thing for a second. And I'm going to see about putting a bus depot right about there, which I thought was going to crash the game, but it didn't. That's okay. Electric buses are a must. And then we can, I wonder, do I want to do this? Does that look silly having it sort of go downhill like that? It kind of does. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to build this thing again, but I'm going to just flatten this terrain out a little bit, and we'll do a little bit more work with some key walls and things like that to try and make it look a little bit less rough around the edges. So this is going to be nice and flat right about here, and that should be fine. So now we build ourselves the bus depot there. We give it the electric buses, we expand here, and we expand here. And then what I want to try and do with this is get some slopes going. So we'll start with, can I get some kind of little path right on the corner? It looks like I can. So we'll go to, I'm going to say about here. And I'm going to see if I can get a gradual little slope from that point to there. That's not going to look terrible. So from there to there is relatively steep, but that's okay. This is relatively level, which is okay as well. This is just going to come right in. I kind of don't want it to snap to the road, but I think it's going to have to. And then all I need to do is go in here with the key walls and do this and do this. And then I should be able to smooth that out a little bit to look the way I want it to look. So now if I go in there with a smoothing brush, we can kind of see what I'm wanting, where we have this very kind of defined corner, very defined edge around the bus depot. And I think that looks good. I think that looks pretty cool. So that's sort of what I'm going for. If anything, I'd like to sort of smooth this out a little bit more just to sort of push some of this back. So if I grab you, for example, and flatten this out, and then grab you and slope down from, say, that spot, and then hit it with a smoothing brush, does that look any better? Not really. It doesn't really look all that different at all, but it's fine. It's again, it does what I want it to do. We have that nice sharp edge on the bus depot, and I think that looks pretty solid. I mean, we still need that transformer station in here, so let me very quickly get that back. And is that everything connected? I think it is, which means I can now go and get rid of you, which means that all of the industry that was once in the middle of the city is now gone, which is very exciting, but it's also a problem because this probably isn't enough industrial space to, you know, support the entire city. So we're going to have to do something about that, but we're going to do something about that some other time. We're definitely not doing that today. I'm also thinking this roundabout, I don't know if we need it anymore. I think we can get away with maybe not having that there, and we'll see how things go. I'm also thinking I probably don't want people parking along this road in here. So very quickly, let me go ahead and just get some grass along here to try and make this place a little bit more pleasant. I think up to about there, since that's about as far as we can go. And then on this side, sort of a similar story, right up to about there. We'll do some trees as well, because I think they'll grow in really nicely and sort of match everything we got going on. And that is essentially our projects and our factory town We have some buildings that I still don't want in here. It's going to take a while for these to all be the building that I want, but we'll get there. Nope, this one almost snuck through as well. We're definitely getting there. I know it's not the most exciting looking district when it is all identical, but that's sort of the point. It's kind of just it's a low rent whatever housing district. That's the whole idea. Is it got some shops down here, some apartments, and then just a bunch of really kind of small. This is the point. I'm also thinking it's going to look really good when these trees come in, because we have a lot of pine trees in between the buildings, and so when they grow, they get quite big. They cover the paths. I think it's going to look really good. It's just going to take a minute to get there. Also, we could probably do a little bit of zoning right there just to get something on that corner. And can I get something here as well? I absolutely can. So let's just fill that space up. I don't know what it was supposed to be. What have I got zoned there? Oh, that's just commercial zoning. Okay. Well, you know what? We're going to replace it with that's EU mixed housing. I want North American mixed housing. Thank you very much. So we'll do North American mixed housing there and there, and just let it build. Anyway, I suppose as the last few buildings start to be built in Sterling Projects, and as the trees in Factory Town start to grow as well, we can probably go ahead and just leave it there for today. Now, I'm thinking that the train line that we have coming down through the Old Town district, I've completely forgotten the name of it, we can probably bring that down a little bit further and then bring it straight through the projects at some point, building some kind of cargo train station out this way. So it's still relatively close to the city center. I just want to try and build some kind of one-way system that's going to filter traffic through really nicely. And so that hopefully all of that cargo traffic is going to be staying away from that main road. Obviously, some of it will still be there, but we're also giving it access to this road, which is essentially access to the region via the highway. And this one as well, if we give it access to this, that's also access to the highway. So that's probably not a terrible idea. But I think next time what I want to try and do is get that cargo terminal back in there. I want to fill up these spaces with something a little bit more interesting than the project. I know they're relatively basic, but I want to fill up these spaces. I'm also tempted to put some trees in and around the observation tower, but I think once we go in and fill in some more of these spaces, I mean, these trees will grow and it'll look a bit more full anyway. I think once things grow, we can get a better look at what this is actually going to look like. I'm thinking it'll look pretty decent though. But my goal is just to fill in some of these empty spaces down here, get the cargo thing out here, and probably fill up this space as well. So another pretty chunky expansion to the city center. And then I want to start looking at the space along the mountains. I've been putting it off for a really long time, but we have this very sharp edge on the city that kind of needs to be dealt with. So we're going to try and deal with that in the next couple of episodes as well. Either way, thank you so much for watching, everybody. It has been an absolute pleasure as always. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.